Hi everyone, so I will introduce my games here, and that's a long time that I not playing chess, so this is my comeback games with chess. So the game start with e4, and my opponent plays d5 with Sicilian defense. So knight f3 was played, and knight c6, and d4, take, and now e5. There's many like here, light here that white can play. That's commonly is always the two moves. That is knight to f6, knight f3 and knight b5. So I choose knight b5. So what the idea of knight b5? Knight b5 is the theory is they want to move the knight for the d6 square and bishop take, queen take. And black is no longer castle because the queen controls the f8 square, so the king cannot castle. So this is the idea of knight b5. So my opponent immediately went for d6, which prevent the knight from coming for d6. So I played knight c3, a6, and now knight a3. And now my opponent went for knight f6, and I went for bishop g5. Why is this bishop g5? Because bishop g5 is allowed maybe in the future. B5 is going to trade b4 into the fork, but I can go for knight d5, pressure the knight with a pin on g5. So that is the idea of bishop g5. Yeah, maybe in this case bishop g7, I can also c3, and knight c2 is also one of the moves, but I can also take. There's many melee here to go with white pieces. But in the game, my opponent instead of playing b5, he went for bishop e7, get out the pin. I play bishop to d3. Now this is a mistake because it's allowed. Knight take e4 is a tactic, because if I take white with the knight, also bishop take g5 is also the trade here, because you have two pieces aiming for my bishop on g5. So, but my opponent did not see the tactic here on knight take e4. He went for castle, and the game balanced again with 0 point for both the players. I went for castle, and now it's equals play. Now why does I not retreat the bishop to any square? So the first thing, if I retreat the bishop, maybe my opponent maybe have the chance to play bishop e3, bishop e6, and then went for d5. If my opponent can play d5, and this is very hard for me, so remember in the Sicilian, white has the square d5. So if d6 and now white have d5, and black also want to play d5 to prevent my pieces from coming for d5. So that's here I took on f6 at the bishop f6, and I have knight d5 with the outpost for the knight on d5. Now bishop g5 was played. So the idea of bishop g5 is that if you can see in this position, actually the dark square bishop or the black pieces doesn't have any square to play. Maybe on e7 is not doing anything, and also in the f6 square is not doing anything. So that's the reason my opponent went for bishop g5, controlling the dark square weakness on my position. Remember that now black has the bishop pair, and white only has the light square bishop. So that's why black wants to get the advantage of their dark square bishop. Now I went for c3, but this move is actually an inaccuracy here. The engine gives us a good move, but in my opinion, this actually inaccuracy move, or maybe it's a mistake. Because why? Because the reason that in the game I think that make me choose the move c3 is that I want to play c3, and then I want to go back with the knight c2, and then I want to replace the knights on the e3 square, and then I will not afraid about the bishop e6 trying to pressure my knight on the d5, because I have the knight on e3. So that is my thinking on my thought of the games. But my opponent went for bishop e6, which is immediately pressuring my mistake on c3. Now I have two moves that's good for me. So the first move is bishop e2, and as the queen defend the knight. I could thought about this move, but I actually don't like it because my weak pawn on e4, and maybe I guess counterplay because of f5. So that I think here don't have the square to protect my knight here. If I let the bishop take on d5 and pawn take d5, and this one become really weak, like knight come back in this pawn and take a pressure in this pawn on c4. Like it's not easy for me to defend. So I want to keep this square as my outpost. I don't want any pawn to go to the d5. I want my pieces to stay on d5. So that is the reason. Now I have the only thing that I want is I have only moves that I want to play like that. But actually now he played knight d4. I thought about knight d4, but this is not a threat here. It's not make any problems because I immediately went for knight c2 and pressuring the knight on d4. Knight to d4, and now there's the two options for white to capture the knight. And if you capture with the queen, then immediately something like bishop take or something just like that, and pressuring on the open file like that. So that is the reason. So I took with the bishop, which is the best move. And now bishop take d5. And now the only good move in this position is to not take with the pawn, and I take with the queen on queen take d5. So why this position? Why is not supposed to take with the pawn? Because if you take with this pawn, and this pawn will be, this file will become the open file. And why this file become the open file is bad for white pieces, because this rook, both of these rook and these pieces can go to the open file, but none of my rook can go to the open file because of the bishop on g5. So that is black have the open file and white does not have the open file. So that is terrible to take with the c pawn, and white's not with the e pawn. If I take with the e pawn, and then they're gonna maybe in the future just like f5, f4, and maybe trying to counterplay in the center of the board just like that. So that's the reason I take with the queen. And moreover, if I take with the queen, and this pawn will become absolutely weak, I can obviously target that with the move rook d8, rook d1, and stack the rook d3, rook d1, try to pressure out this weak pawn on d6. So queen b6 was played to attack my pawn, to protect the pawn on d6, and to attack my pawn on b2. Now the engine says that b3 is the best move. I actually played b3 in the game, but actually I think b3 have a little bit of drawback here, because b3 and now my light square bishop is really weak. It has no square to play. Maybe it's connect the pawn. This is good, but I think the bishop is really bad in this position. Maybe they have only d6, d3 or d1, and they have no square. Maybe I can replace this to g4, but it's really hard in the future. So, but I play b3 anyway. And now rook to d8. Now black pieces have to defend the pawn, and white can play flexible, right? White can move the pieces flexible, but black have to keep an eye on the pawn on d6. So that is the problem, that you take the queen on d5. Now I play rook f to d1, so actually the best move here to play rook h to d1, but at this point I was too hurry up and I don't see the board carefully. So that's why I play the rook f to d1, because now after I play rook f to d1 and my rook on the a5 only have one square is b1 to play, and it's really hard to develop this rook out of the a5 because b1 is not doing anything, right? Actually, in this position, rook h to d8 is the best move here. Sorry. Okay. After king to h8, that's my opponent plays. That I immediately think that he wants to go for f5, but I think f5 here is not the big threat here, because I can actually take with my pawn on f4, so it is not the threat here. But I mean, I have to be careful with this in the future. For now, it's not a threat, but in future, who knows, right? So at this point, I would think that the bishop on g5 is really important pieces for black pieces, and I want to change that away, and I went for the idea g3. It actually is a inaccuracy move is given by the engine, but who knows? Maybe this move is good. I don't know, because the engine says that now Black spent 4 minutes thinking of this move. This move, Black spent 4 minutes of thinking. So the first line I was thinking about is h5, and I will play h4, bishop come back, and I will find a way to attack this pawn with my light square bishop. So that is the reason. So actually, Black can play something like that, yeah. But this is my thinking the game. But in this position, Black spent 4 minutes thinking of this move, and I actually found the move that Black see in the games. It is bishop e3, brilliant move. Why bishop e3? Because in the game I also see the move bishop e3, but actually in my opinion this is not this danger, because bishop e3, pawn e3, queen e3, this is a check, right? So if I move the king on the first rank, just like king here, and this is fully a draw, because I don't have any square to go, just like that, and this check is absolutely a draw, is obviously. So the only way to get out the draw here is to play king g2, and actually the line I see in the game was this king g2, queen e2, king g1, queen c2, and I have this pawn, and now f5, I took on f5, queen f5, and now I have queen g2, and after trade, rook fh, and I have rook f1, and I have to take all the pieces here, rook f1, rook f1, and king f1, and now I'm winning. Why? Because in the end game I have 2 pawns island, and Black have 3 pawns island. So that is winning for white pieces. Maybe just king g8 and just like bring the piece down, and I'm winning in this game because my pawn structure is better, right? So just like that, I'm winning. Because now I have 2 versus 1 in this case, and it's fully winning for white pieces. It is 2 versus 2, and this cannot make any progress, right? Because my king is in the center of the board, and now this is 2 versus 1, and I'm winning, right? So I was not scared about this move bishop e3. That is, I was not scared about this one, but actually this is a brilliant move. So I started the game, so I took here, I spent about 10 seconds to take the bishop, because I think about this move when my opponent takes into the game. I also see the line that's bishop e3, so that I don't have to think about this move because I calculate all the things, so I just have to play it. So I took on e3, and now queen e3, I just go for king g2, and the best move here also that I said queen e2, right? But my opponent went for f5. I don't know why this f5 in this position, and now I'm winning material, right? So the easiest way to do here is to trade the queens and trade the most powerful pieces that Black has to attack your king, and that you will have the material advantage and you will win the game. So right, I immediately play queen d2, the great move in this position, and now Black resign. Because now Black have no squares, there's no chance to attack, and they have to retreat the queen away, and now I just take on f5, and there's nothing to do here. So this is a game that I want to show you that my opponent went for a brilliant move, and the move after he resigned. Okay, so if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel, like the videos, and leave a comment if you want. So if you want to trade to 2000 chess.com, maybe improve the chess skills, so please follow me and I will teach you how to improve the chess. So let's go. Get out of here.